Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I am Dr. Pinkston coming from home today. So I also want to say hello to my baby girl, Alia, who's going to be graduating next weekend. And Alia, love you to death and happy graduation. So today I have no guest. It's just me. And I love these days when it's just me because I get to talk about something that I'm very passionate about. And something that I talk about a lot in clinic or something that I think will mean a lot to you and your health. And today I'm going to talk about something that maybe you've heard of, but a lot of people tell me that they haven't heard of. But I think it is at the basis of all disease and especially inflammatory disease. So when you're thinking about autoimmunity, when you are thinking about allergies, asthma, when you're thinking about depression, when you're, all these different diseases that, we suffer from, leaky gut. And so what is leaky gut? Leaky gut is the craziest term, and I wish that they would call it something else, but that's what it is. Your gut is leaky. So if you imagine that your immune system is probably 80% tied to your intestine, and I don't think I'm overestimating. If anything, I'm underestimating. Your intestine is responsible for not only 80% of your brain chemistry, but it's also responsible for at least 80% of your immune system. So if you are sensitive or allergic to foods, then you have leaky gut. If you have depression, allergies, asthma, any autoimmune disease, so rheumatoid arthritis, Sjogren's, even things like MS, neurological diseases, fibromyalgia, you have a gut problem. But I think the thing that bothers people the most is, the food allergies and the problems that are out there. So let's say that you are susceptible to, certain foods. Okay, gluten, dairy, you eat ice cream, you feel sick, you get bloated, your stomach gets irritated, you burp and you belch a lot, or you have acid reflux, or, you get diarrhea, or you're constipated all the time. This is what your gut is telling you, that it is unbalanced and something is wrong. So you avoid the foods. Fine and great. You go to your doctor and you say, I want food allergy testing. And your doctor says, okay, well, it's not covered by insurance. So you're going to spend about $200 to $800, maybe $1,000. And I tell you, don't do it. You don't necessarily need to do it. And here's why I say this. I've been doing this a long time, and I used to do this testing for people. But what I have come to understand is that if you are sensitive to a food, it may not show up on your allergy panel. If you're allergic to a food, you're going to say, wait a minute, I eat that all the time, and I don't think I'm allergic to it. I don't have any reactions. But what you don't understand is that you have autoimmunized yourself. So let's say you go and you're allergic to something, mold or something, you go get allergy shots. Now you're no longer allergic. You don't have symptoms to it, but you took allergy shots. So that's the same thing that happens when you eat foods you're allergic to over and over and over again. So the problem is that we also will test for allergies through IgE. So IgE tests sometimes are covered by insurances, but that tests the itchy, watery eyes, runny nose, those type of symptoms. They don't test for food sensitivities. That is IgG. So there's a huge difference in you're spending a lot of money, or your insurance is spending a lot of money. Who cares, right? But your insurance is spending a lot of money, and you really don't need to do that testing. What I tell people is that there is a certain amount of foods that we're typically sensitive to. So what you do is you avoid those foods for 2 weeks, and then you turn around and one weekend, because you're going to be sick, eat those foods and stand back and watch and see what happens. If you get sick, if you get diarrhea, if you get nauseated, if you get itchy, skin, if you, feel badly, you just feel down, you feel depressed, whatever happens, that's your food sensitivity or your food allergy. Okay. So you eliminate those foods. Great. Well, what happens? You start eating a different food. And then what happens? You become allergic to that food. So as long as you are not fixing leaky gut, you are going to just develop a new food allergy and a new food that you need to get rid of until all you're eating is lettuce and water. Okay. So what do? you fix leaky gut. So your intestine is a long tube that's supposed to be a solid wall. And it's not supposed to allow food particles or toxins or, any of the toxins that bacteria release in your intestine into your bloodstream. But what happens is your bloodstream does see those small particles. So if your intestine's leaky, there's little open channels that develop and they cross into your bloodstream and your lymph system. So when that crosses over, then you start to mount an immune system reaction. Your immune system sees that's foreign material, and like a bacteria or a virus, it gets super excited and it flips over and it starts to attack. So that is when your immune system gets heightened and gets out of control. And then after so much time of exposure, your immune system under attack will turn and start to attack you. And that is called an autoimmune illness. It attacks the thyroid first, usually, but then it can go to your joints or your tendons or muscles, all your connective tissue. It can attack your neurological system. It can attack your skin, your mucous membrane. So that's why every autoimmunity or every allergy or asthma or skin condition, eczema, all of those things are tied to leaky gut. What else happens? You also don't make your brain chemistry. So I told you in the beginning that your brain chemistry is 80% made in your intestine. So if it's not being made, guess what? You're anxious, you're depressed, you have symptoms of a mood disorder, your brain gets inflamed, you get symptoms of a mood disorder, and there you go. I do believe that is where autism comes from, or any of the affective disorders, especially mood disorders in kids. I think it's all leaky gut. I don't think they have a mood disorder, and I will stand against any psychologist or psychiatrist on that. I think anytime you get neuroinflammation, you exhibit it as a mood disorder. And so I don't think kids can be diagnosed with that until their 20s. I think that happens because they are inflamed from leaky gut. So the other thing that causes leaky gut is the bacteria. You have bacteria that outnumber your cells in your body that live in your intestine. And there's supposed to be a wide array of bacteria in a balance. It's so many different types and so many different numbers, and they're supposed to be balanced. But when you have antibiotic after antibiotic. So like my daughter, when she was a baby, had 11 ear infections. I could not get a doctor to listen to me, and I'm a doctor. So she had so many antibiotics. I did not know about leaky gut at that time. I didn't know about the microbiome. So we're not taught this in medical school. So the microbiome is a growth of bacteria, just like I explained, in the intestine. When you take a bunch of antibiotics, it kills out the good bacteria, leaves the bad bacteria to overgrow, and then they produce toxins. And those toxins, what? Go to your bloodstream through leaky gut, go to your brain, you get brain on fire. You can see how all of these things connect down to your gut. So it's not just the antibiotics, it's also intense stress, long-term stress. It is due to a trauma, a traumatic experience. It is due to a surgery where you get antibiotics, but your body undergoes trauma. I mean, there are so many different ways. And then foods. Think about all of our foods. Think about all the foods and all of the bacterias that, are affected by the industrialized growing practices, such as the pesticides and the lack of nutrition. And then on top of that, we feed ourselves the worst foods. Okay, we go to a Mexican restaurant here in San Antonio, we eat all the tortillas in the world, we get these greasy foods, and, we are affecting our gut when we eat these types of foods. And this is the key to why you become inflamed and gain all this weight. So, inflammation is at the basis of all evil. Is it the basis of all the diseases that I mentioned, plus the weight gain? And it is the reason why we are getting just more and more obese as a society. And it's the reason why we are having such difficulties with eating certain foods now and having all of these autoimmune issues. It is my guess that in the next 10 years, every single person will have an autoimmune illness. And I really believe that from the bottom of my heart. When you use hand sanitizers and cleansers in your house, when these things get on your hands, when you use soaps and whatnot, you do ingest some of these things, and that affects your gut as well. There's no way to get away from it except, people will say, well, I take a probiotic. Well, your probiotic, especially if it's over the counter and from the store, or if you eat yogurt, or if you just use kombucha, things like that, those are all supportive things, but they are definitely not good enough. So you get what you pay for in probiotics. I have recommendations that I make, and it's not because I make money off of them. It is because they are the good versions of probiotics. And I'm happy to make these recommendations. I will put that on my website so that you can see what types of probiotics, even a link to go through and get them. Again, I am not selling you a product. I don't want to make money off of it. That is not my intent. I want you to be healthy. Are they expensive? Yeah, they're a little expensive, but you have to imagine that they can't be made or stored or shipped the way most probiotics are. You can't do that because they die. It is a bacteria in a pill. And you just have to be very, very delicate with these things. But most of the time, yogurts only have one type of bacteria, or a probiotic only has 3 or 4 different types. And there's usually about 7 or 8 that need to be in that probiotic. In a minute, I'm going to talk about something called a fecal transplant. It's going to absolutely gross you out, but it's something very legitimate, very real that somebody with severe autism might consider, or somebody with very severe autoimmune disease. These are things that, are coming down the road as far as science goes. Now, when you go to your gastroenterologist, they're starting to understand this. They're starting to get this. Integrative medicine definitely has the handle on this. If you go to Josh Axe, and I'm going to leave this on my website too. So draxe.com, DRAXE.com, you will see a lot of information on leaky gut. But the thing that I warn you is that there's a lot of things that are listed about supplements, and they list any of these sites that you see, they list 100 different supplements, and you'll go buy all of them, and you're not realizing that you don't need all of that. So I will leave a list that I personally think work for leaky gut and are not expensive with instructions. I will leave that on my website. Now, guys, you have to come to my clinic and make an appointment to get this information, but I'm going to leave it for you because I think everybody deserves good information. So the last thing I'll talk about too is some of the supplements that you can use. And actually, I'm going to name one more book that you can read. If you have an autoimmune illness, or if you just want to learn a little bit more about leaky gut, Amy Myers has a fantastic book called The Autoimmune Solution. Now, she lists a lot of leaky gut and supplements and nutrients. But again, I want you to know that you can get some of these things a little less expensive, and you can get her book from Amazon. You can also get a lot of supplements from Amazon, but please know a lot of these third-party sellers will sell some of these good, really high-quality things, but the third parties will empty them out, put different things in them. They don't sell a high-quality product that you think you are buying. So please don't go to Amazon. I really believe even places like GNC, HEB, now they could, argue with me, and I want them to argue with me if they feel that their things are that wonderful. There may be a few things there that are great, but for the most part, there's a lot of vitamins that really contain more fillers than they do actual product. So be careful about what you're buying, and you're welcome to email me. I cannot give you medical advice over email, but I'm happy to answer simple questions that is well known to everybody, information you can find anywhere. So I want to take just a minute to tell you a little bit about one of my sponsors, please. And then we're going to take a short break. When I come back on the other side, I'm going to talk a little bit more about leaky gut and some important information you cannot miss. So I want to give homage, though, to my sponsor, Pinnacle Clinical Research, and also to Harbor Hospice. So Pinnacle is, I'm going to read off to the side here a little bit because I want to give you a couple of phone numbers. But first, let me tell you that 1 in 3 middle-aged adults has fatty liver in Texas. We're a little higher on the scale because of where we live in South Texas. Seems like we have the worst food and we have the highest obesity rates. So we're a little higher on the average of numbers. But if you will call in San Antonio, if you will call 210-529-7978, this is on my website, or in Austin, if you will call 512-601-5788 and go to pinnacleresearch.com, you can get a free fibro scan. It's free. I did it. It took like 3 minutes, and then I spent 15 minutes with a gastroenterologist who gave me a free consultation. It was amazing. And so I really, really would love for you to just go get screened. If your liver functions are high from your doctor, or even if they're not, if you're overweight, or if you have a family history of fatty liver disease or liver failure of any kind, please go get checked. So I, want you guys to also understand that you can go to my site. Now I'm on San Antonio radio on Sundays at 4, but this also gets podcasted to iTunes and iHeartRadio and to Spotify, Amazon Audible, Google Play, all of the platforms. If you will go, and YouTube, I'm on YouTube, so you can go actually watch and see my poor lighting today with what we're doing from home since it's Memorial Day. But if you will go to drpbetterlife.com, you can get all of the platforms and a link to those platforms. You can also pick up all of this information today where you can see what, supplements that I recommend, all the reading material, all the websites I recommend for learning about leaky gut. So guys, we are going to take a short break. When you come on the other side, I'm going to give you some great information. Please don't miss out. I'll see you in a minute.
Fatty liver is linked to 2 different situations, alcohol and diabetes, or obesity. In both cases, patients can have no symptoms. In the United States, and in particular, Texas, the most common cause of liver disease in general is non-alcoholic fatty liver. Again, associated with overweight, obesity, and/or diabetes. Additional risk factors include high cholesterol, high blood pressure, Hispanic ethnicity, and postmenopausal status. At Pinnacle Clinical Research, we offer a quick, non-invasive ultrasound-based screening assessment called FibroScan. This test is done at no cost to you, and we do not take insurance. The test will measure the fat and stiffness in your liver and stage your risk and development of fatty liver disease. You will meet with a provider immediately following your scan to go over your results. If you're interested in getting more information on your liver health, please call 210-982-0320 and schedule your FibroScan today. We are conveniently located in the Medical Center at 5109 Medical Drive.
Welcome back. Dr. Pinkston here with The Better Life. And I want to say one more message about Harbor Hospice, another great supporter of mine. And I want you to know Harbor Hospice, everybody's so frightened of hospice, but really I want you to know that hospice can be glorified home health care. There's a lot of people who graduate from hospice and come off and go back on to home health and live life longer. So you have to know hospice is a great thing. So if you want to call Harbor Hospice, please call 855-542-7267 or go to harborhospice.com. And thank you guys for your help. Okay, we were talking about leaky gut. So leaky gut is, again, at the basis of most diseases that involve our immune system. And I want to talk about it and weight a little bit because most people are very, very concerned about their weight these days. And I've done a couple of shows, so go back and listen because these couple of shows of why I can't lose weight. It's very important that I talk about inflammation. So inflammation is at the heart of all problems of why we, itch and sneeze, but also all the way to our stomach problems, why we, have acid reflux and, can't go to the bathroom, all those problems, but it's also at the heart of why we can't lose weight. And in those shows, I explained this, but I want to explain a little bit more about the gut. When your gut is unsettled and your body is so inflamed, you cannot lose weight. So if you want to get rid of the inflammation, you've got to go back and look at your gut, and you've got to feed it correctly. We have to look at foods that are inflammatory, and I've talked about it over and over, so I don't want to go too far into it again today. You can go back and listen to those shows. But when we eat these foods that are so inflammatory to us, our intestine sees these particles that cross into our bloodstream and cause inflammation in the body. And when we become inflamed, our organs become inflamed. Our pancreas becomes inflamed, therefore diabetes. Our liver becomes inflamed, therefore liver disease, fatty liver. I just talked about Pinnacle a minute ago, and getting a FibroScan causes the liver. Our brain becomes inflamed. So you have brain fog. You have the inability to concentrate. You feel down and depressed. So there are so many areas where we have problems. And I think when you think about brain fog, a lot of people come to me in their adulthood and they'll say, I think I have ADD. Were you diagnosed as a kid? No. Well, we can't diagnose you now because you weren't diagnosed as a kid. But I tell you that your gut is off, and we can fix it through leaky gut therapies. So are your hormones and many other things, your nutrition. But that is what is causing it. So it's not a matter of, getting a pill like Adderall or something to wake you up and help you lose weight and get your body up and going. This is due to your diet, and it's due to leaky gut. So again, I'm going to leave information on my website so that you can see what it is that, I'll leave a list of good foods to look at. I'll leave a list of supplements that you can actually buy, and I am not selling anything. Please understand. I want people to have good health, and I want you to have access to it. It looks like I'm selling. So just to tell you that you are using an account of mine that I was able to get. I'm supposed to sell from it, but I don't. I leave it at the wholesale price so that you can access it. I don't even see if you buy or don't buy. It's up to you. But you will have on your credit card statement something that says Pinkston Medical and Wellness, but I am not selling it. You can deal directly with the company. If you ever decide to send them back, there's guarantees that 30-day guarantees, things like that. So you can deal with the company on it. I just want to put in that disclaimer. But there are wonderful ways for you to heal your gut and make sure that you are lowering your inflammation, you are avoiding these autoimmune disorders, cut out the hand sanitizer. Another thing that you can do is go to ewg.org, and you can look for clean and healthy foods that don't have pesticides. You can look for all these chemicals and things that you can use as hand sanitizers, house cleansers, things like that, that are safe for your body. ewg.org. But really what I want you to do is go to drpbetterlife.com and take a look at some of my old shows. I've had this podcast. I'm archived for a year and been doing this for a year, and I'm so excited. Thank you to KLUP for 930 in Salem for putting me on and letting me do what I do in clinic every day so that I can bring this to you. And if you want to look me up in San Antonio, I'm at 210-698-7825. I almost gave you my cell phone. That's 210-698-7825. And I'm out in Northwest San Antonio, and I do see patients, and I do take insurance. I do see patients without insurance. It's not expensive, but come and see me if you want to get some good testing and take a look and see if we can heal your leaky gut and some of your other autoimmune problems. Guys, thank you very much. Congratulations, Alia. My middle girl's going to graduate. I almost get kind of misty talking about her, but I'm proud of you. And thank you guys very much. Have a good day.